Hey, brown girl. In a world that is set up to make you question who you are, take this time to reconnect to your greatness and speak to the inner depths of your soul. Your grace is undeniable. Your confidence is envied. You radiate and shine in every space you occupy. It's time to take back your power and remember who you are. Take a deep breath. Release all doubt and repeat after me. Today, I choose to walk in peace that will not be disturbed. I will allow my mind to exist in my unlimited future. I am breaking cycles of trauma on my bloodline. I will take up space without shrinking. My ideas will impact generations to come. I belong in the rooms that I walk into. Today, I will effortlessly walk in purpose. I attract peace and abundance. When my feet touch the floor, the day stands at attention. I am calm, confident, powerful, and filled with love. I trust myself to explore the possibilities of my heart's desires. Today, I rise with the power of my ancestors. It is okay to rest from productivity. I will live my dreams out loud. Creativity flows effortlessly through me. Emotions are welcome in my space and in my body. I am overflowing with abundance. It is time to create again. It is time to dream again. Every breath brings more joy, more peace, and more healing. I belong in every room that I walk into. Radical rest is my birthright. I inhale confidence and exhale doubt. Today, I choose gratitude. It is okay to not be okay. My testimony will be someone else's survival guide. I give myself grace and space on my journey. I show up every day as my full and complete self. Growth is difficult, but I trust that I am strong enough to do it. I will always be enough. I trust myself to set boundaries that will protect my peace. My peace is my superpower. Every step in the right direction is a step in the right direction. I believe I will receive what I need at the exact time that I need it. Someone smiled today because I am still here. I believe in my ability to do things that scare me. I put out the energy I wish to receive. I will stop apologizing for being myself. My mistakes do not define me. I was put on this earth to walk out my unique purpose. I let go of drama and embrace peace. I am attracting people that align with my peace and my joy. I am continuing to heal every day that I continue to breathe. I am confident that things are working out for my good. If it doesn't bring me joy, it isn't welcome in my space. I only strive to be a better version of myself. As I walk, I shine my light on my journey of purpose. I decide to wake up each morning and choose joy. I am manifesting my happiest self. Brown girl, it's time to shine.
Kimberly, and this is the Frolicking Truth, a soft space for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal. Here, joy meets justice. We calm our Black ass nervous systems, we unmask, and we leave behind whatever that is trying to kill us. You're seen here, you're safe here, and you don't have to do this alone. Now it's starting right at 11:11. Oh my God, I'm so excited about that. Wait, we need to get some applause. Oh, wait, I don't have the volume up on my phone. Yes. Um, So I have been figuring out the production side of things, and today is the first day that I was able to get everything to go the way that I intended for it to go here on this restream. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about that. And I just want to take a moment to pat myself on the back because it's been a journey. Okay, it's been a journey, and I feel like the code is being cracked. Okay. I shade to all of that. I'm gonna send this to my mama, assorted other Black women in my life. Yes. So, hey, y'all. There's so much I want to tell you. But first, I want to say welcome to the Frolicking Truth podcast for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal, where joy meets justice and our nervous systems get set free. It is okay, though, if you don't identify with any of those descriptors. Okay, you are more than welcome to hang out here. All I ask is that when you come, that you come ready to listen, ready to learn, and ready to support. It is deeply appreciated. And, we be talking about the things, okay? Shout out to Rolanda. Thank you for being here. This is someone I met over in the SEAL squad. It's hella dope ass people over there. And so I feel really honored that you made your way over here to hang out with me. And please do. He said, I'm going to send all assorted wait, what you said? I shade to all of that. I'm gonna send this to my mama, assorted other Black women in my life. I love that. Send it to the assortments of the Black women. Okay, get them in here. So yeah, everything is going as planned, except for my tea took a little bit longer to boil than it was supposed to. See, this is the behind the scenes people what's supposed to happen. Okay. What's supposed to happen is I make my way down here at 10:55 or so. I get all the things set up and pulled up. I press the button, we go live, the meditation starts. I pick my affirmations during that time. My tea is boiling. I pour my tea. I have a seat. All of the opening credits finish. And then it's like, hey, y'all, what's up? That's how it's supposed to work, right? I've been working on that. That hasn't worked. And so what had happened was, I was out frolicking yesterday. I'm gonna get into this a little bit more later, and I didn't do nothing. Okay. When I say nothing, I mean nothing in regards to what I was supposed to do for this because I was like, it's Juneteenth. We free. Who's working? Right. And so, because of that, I had forgot to go and get some more water. And because I didn't have more water, that means the water that's usually downstairs is upstairs, which means I had to go back upstairs to get the water to bring downstairs to make the tea. But this is what happens whenever I go upstairs to do something, I always forget what I went up there for. So then I had a bunch of side quests. And so then it took me longer than expected. But anyway, I said all that to say I got to go get the tea because it's boiling and I'm going to be right back. Okay. All right. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. As you can clearly see, I'm kind of on one today, but it's great. Be right back. BRB. I would play music, but I don't know where the button is right now. Okay. I'm making it back. That didn't take me long at all. Also, yes, I be sitting crisscross applesauce on the floor because it is very comfortable for me, actually. I like it a lot. And I'm only 5'3", and therefore my little legs are able to fit. All right, what y'all talking about over here? Sil Squad, frolic on. Yes, yes, we'll be here. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so let me get my things, y'all, and let me get my life together because there's so much I want to talk about. To the point of what I was just talking about a moment ago and the ADHD ness of it all. I have time blindness so bad, yo. When I say so bad, I mean so bad. It is ridiculous. Like I really just be losing time. Like it just evaporates. And I have to use like different methods to try to um like informally keep myself on track. And so another thing, what I'm noticing, what I'm asking myself while I'm sitting here is, girl, why is you so thrown off today? Um y'all be saying that? That's something we say in New Orleans, that somebody is thrown off. But anyway, I'm like, why you so thrown off today? I don't have on my Fitbit. I don't have on my Fitbit because I didn't charge it. And I didn't charge it because I was charging something else. And then I forgot to put the Fitbit on the charger. So the Fitbit is dead. The Fitbit is also my watch. So I don't know what time it is. And I don't have the time on my wrist. And usually what would happen is I'd be setting timers for myself. Like, yeah, I be setting timers for myself and then it'll buzz on my wrist and that helps me. And so I also don't have that right now. And so it's really, and also this the other thing that happened. It's a lot that's happened, y'all. Let me just get into the auntie update and then I'm gonna come back to all announcements and stuff because there's a lot that happened. Okay, it's a lot to catch up on. This is what had happened. This is really what had happened. Okay. So today is Saturday. And I'm giving y'all this information before the Patreon even gets it. Okay, but I'm gonna talk to the archive in detail about what happened, what had happened. But I'm gonna give y'all the light version. So Elbot had messaged me. When was this? This was earlier this week. He had messaged me. If you don't know who Elbot is, you got to go back in the archives. Okay. But what I'm going to say is that Elbot is a friend and one of my ex fiancés. And we'll just leave it at that. Okay. So Elbot had messaged me earlier this week because we have some projects that we're working on. And he was like, I had said something to the effect of like we have these conversations like we need to have. When are we having these? Let's get these on the calendar because I'm planning my July because I am going to be not here in public facing places. I'm just gonna be in the archive and doing some planning and stuff. Also, Raina is doing a lot today, and I don't know what this is about right here. So I'm just letting it cook, but also it's bothering me. I want y'all to know that. But let me try to stay focused. So anyway, so Elbot had messaged me earlier this week and I had said there are some conversations like that we need to have. And so y'all cracking me up in these comments. There are some conversations that we need to have. So I'm like, when can we put this on the calendar? So he was like, okay, well, tell me when you work this week or whatever. So I'm like, all right, so I got time here, there, wherever else, blah, blah, blah. So then that was earlier this week. So then Thursday, I was working late. And I was like, so I had messaged him when I got off because we had never pinned down the time. So I was like, hey, I'm finished working. You know, what's up? And he was like, oh, I was waiting for you. And I was like, oh, well, what's up? I'm here. What we talking? What's going on? So then he was like, well, what are you doing tomorrow for Juneteenth? And I'm like, nothing. I'm doing nothing at all. So he was like, oh, you want to hang out? Now, what that means, mind you, I live in Colombia. So Elbot lives in the States. So what that means is we'll like watch movies together all day or some type of like virtual situation. I'm like, absolutely, no problem. I would love to do that. So then so we say, okay, we're gonna hang out. So then we have a conversation. He was like, yeah, man, we need to have some good food. And I was like, well, you got like this kind of food there, and I got to see what I'm gonna have. So I was like, I think I'm gonna have me a fried fish sandwich. And then he was like, you have enough for two? And I was like, no. He said, you have enough for me? And I said, what are you saying right now? What is happening? What is going on? And then I took a step back and I said, is Elbot the type of person that would be on the way, show up in the country, something like that? Yes. Yes, he is. Long story short, Elbot came in town. And so I was out frolicking for the Juneteenth. I was in them streets. Not like that, but we was in them streets. I went to the park. I haven't been to the park in so long. So we went to the park. We went to get something to eat. We watched movies. We went to, and then we had all these conversations that we needed to have about all these things. And it was the best time ever. I see your face. So if you go back in the archives, there's a long story here with Elbot. He's the reason why I live in Medellin. So this is one of the places like that he comes. And so this is not uncommon, right? But I was so happy. Yes, I got out of the house. I did. I was just taking pictures of things, and there were butterflies everywhere at the park. And what's so crazy is I'm saying that Elbot is the reason that I live in Medellin, right? He had never even been to that park. And this is my favoriteest park. Like, it's the most, this is the thing about the parks here in Colombia, in Medellin. I can't speak for the whole country. The parks there in Medellin are very much, they feel like afterthoughts because the city is so green. Like, it's just green everywhere, every corner, at every turn. And so um the parks are often just like, let's put some benches under a tree here, that's a park. Put some free exercise equipment outside, because they good for having that. Now they gonna have that outdoor exercise equipment that is accessible for everybody, you understand? Ain't no reason for you to say that you ain't got no equipment, okay? Anyway, so they'll make that a park, but this particular park is called Parque del Rio, is my favorite park. It's the park where the Medellin River runs through the park. And so then there's like park on both sides, and it's a more of a curated space as opposed to some benches underneath some trees. And so as we're walking to the park, I'm like, you've never been to this park? So he's like, nah, I ain't never been to this park. And I'm like, oh my God, like I get to show you my favorite park for the first time? Like, this is so cool. So we were frolicking around the park and hanging out in the park and just talking about some things. So an additional piece of background information about LBOT is the idea of the archive and minding my Black ass business and this community organizing. All of that started from a conversation that he and I were having before I left the States. And so he is literally like the visionary partner for a lot of the things that I am doing. And he's just kind of been sitting in the background, so much to the point that a lot of people don't think that he's even real. But it's really cool to now sit in this space and be like, you remember we was talking about this? Like, we were like, this was like when I left in 2021. So this was, I left in October of 2021. So this is like almost 5 years ago that we were in Brooklyn and we're having these conversations and we're like, this is what we need to do. And we really didn't know what was on the horizon, but very much felt like this is what it needs to look like. And also had no idea what was about to happen, because at that time I was leaving to go supply as El Carmen. And then I moved to Mexico City, and then I came here to Medellin. Like, I had no idea. I had no idea what was going to happen. So it was really cool to like sit and have the conversations of, you remember when we said this, and now look at this, and look at how things have expanded, and to really think about how our universes are going to collide and all of that. And so it was the best. And because of that, everything is sold off. Because when I tell you I didn't do nothing, in regards to work yesterday? Nothing. I was so proud of myself also. I also ate a lot of cinnamon rolls. I don't know why. It just felt like it was calling my name. And they're dangerous. I don't know if y'all eat cinnamon rolls and if cinnamon rolls feel like an addictive substance to you all. But to me, it is, they draw me in, and I was in there. We had caramel pecan. First of all, it's pecan. And if you say pecan, I judge you every time. I just want you to know. I just want you to know because it's pecan. It's like I don't know how to tell you any different. Okay, it's pecan. So anyway, we had caramel pecan cinnamon rolls. I would have eaten three. I didn't, but I did eat two. And I brought the other one with me. With every bite, I was like, girl, you've got to cut it out. And then I was like, it's Juneteenth. We free. It was the best. It was the best time ever. And yeah, so because of that, I literally I knew what I wanted to talk about today, but I hadn't like updated anything or put anything in the studio or any of that. So I also want to say, despite all of that, I am still here. Amen. Amen. See, y'all get it. They get it on the cinnamon roll too. They get it. Yeah, and see, I haven't made cinnamon rolls. I don't know how to make them. I'm sure I can figure it out. I just have to follow the recipe. But and I don't, you know what? I actually don't know if I want to know how to make them because this is the thing with me. I'm going to eat it if it is available. And so I often have to not make it available because I'm going to eat it if it's available. So, for example, I have been wanting some carrot cake and but it's like one slice of carrot cake is like 15,000 Colombian pesos. So that's like wait, what is the exchange rate right now? It's done fall. So that's probably about $5, let's say, for a slice of cake. And then the whole cake is like 71 Colombian pesos. So what's that? Let's say 20 or something dollars. In theory, it is so much cheaper to just buy the whole cake, right? Freeze the rest, da da da, whatever. But I'm gonna eat as much as I can. And then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna be sick of it halfway through. And then I'm gonna just wanna throw away the rest. So why do we do this at all? Like just cut it out. But I was able to have cinnamon rolls in a controlled environment where it's just like, you can go in. And also, once this is gone, that's it. We're not doing this no more. Okay. So I ate a lot of cinnamon rolls. I ate a lot of cinnamon rolls. They were so good though. Hey, Sovereignty Library. Carrot cake, that's my love language. And this is something else that in theory I want to know how to make it, but if I do, I'ma eat it. So I don't know if that's really the greatest idea, but we'll see. I gotta get my self-discipline up, if you will, because this why I don't keep snacks in the house. I just cause I'ma eat them. They gonna get ate. Okay. So yeah, working on that. But anyway, that was a really good time. And I was frolicking about with the Lbots and really got to have like some deep laughs and deep thinking and like all of that. And that's just what I appreciate the most about our friendship is like we're just really able to kind of just go anywhere and also not all at the same time. So it was a good time. It was a really good time. And I washed Raina And so this is another instance of me be doing too much because Elbot was on the way, and then I was like, "Oh, I need to refresh my hair, but then do I have time? Am I going to have time to do it?" And then it was like, "But when else are you going to have time to do it? Because you stream it, then you go to the dance." So I was like, "Let me just do it now." So I literally was like, when he got here, I was like, "My hair is wet, but it's all right." But this is what I wanted to tell y'all. So I did the flaxseed gel again, right? Um, I used to sit in the middle of the bed with a fork and eat off an entire strawberry shortcake until I got tired. Yeah, yeah. See, that's me, and that's why I can't do it because I don't stop. I just that button is broken. Okay, but yeah. So I did the flaxseed gel again. And I think I told y'all the last time that I did it that it's a lot thinner this time. Not really on purpose, but not really. But that's all that is in my hair is the flaxseed gel and the is rosemary, clove, and mint water, and then the flaxseed gel. And so this one is really, really, really thin. I'm talking like running thin. So I was literally kind of just like pouring it on, but I'm really pleased with the way that it's been coming out. And this is from like actual flax seeds, like from the raw flax seeds, boil it and put the water in and make a gel type of situation, a $2 situational. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I didn't put any oil or anything because I wanted to see like what it's gonna look like. So yesterday it was a part in here. Raina did not like that this morning. Okay, so we letting the part just do what it do. So that's why I don't know what this situational is right up in here. But nonetheless, that is what is going on with Raina. Wash and go. It's only hair. Be free. Yes, I'm all for it. But I also be wondering, what you doing, girl? You reaching for the what we doing? What new style we in? You know, what's that look like? Sound like? So anyway, that's what is going on with Raina. Um, I told y'all about uh me frolicking and things. And I mentioned in passing that I'm going to be taking off next month from these public facing spaces. So what I was working on this past week is thank you, Sovereignty Library. Please do like the video and also tap the screen. And also if you're here and you haven't come into the comments to say, hey, come say hey, what you doing? But if you drive and drive safely now, because that's not safe for you to be texting and driving and stuff. But anyway. I have full ADHD right now. I'm going to in the spaces. So here on the network for the month of July, I was figuring out the other day how to do reruns or marathons. That's what it's called. How to do marathons because again, to some of the conversations that are in here you just getting here, right? So you need to get caught up. And I think now is a great time to get caught up because it's been quite a ride. It's been quite a lot of things that have been going on. So what I'm gonna do is run like 12, sometimes 18-hour marathons of all of the episodes. And let those kind of just play on the days where the show would be coming on. So, for instance, on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern, the Frolicking Truth will be coming on. The Frolicking Truth Marathon will be on for that Saturday. On Sundays, which I ain't used none of my graphics or nothing, child, here today. I'm just sitting here talking. Hold on. Let me pull the calendar up so y'all can see what the hell I'm talking about. While I'm just sitting here talking in theory, girl. Hold on. I just went to every window but the window that I need to be in. My gosh. If you're driving, tell Siri to type for you. Siri be typing for y'all while y'all driving. I live in an Android world. Yes, I do. Also, save your judgments if you have any. I don't care. Okay. I do not care. I live in an Android world. It is so much better that way for my life. But also my computer like devices are Macs, so that's interesting too. But that's dope if Siri really be typing for y'all. So anyway, this is the rest of the June calendar that we have left. And for July is going to look a whole lot sparser. Okay. So, but again, in those spaces where the Frolicking Truth would be present on Saturdays, we'll have marathons. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do Heal That Shit, but we'll see what happens with that. I have to talk to Bianca. The So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese slot, that will also be marathon. So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese has been going on for 3 seasons now. So it's a lot to catch up on over there. So that'll also be on marathon every Sunday. And then we're only going to have co-working twice. And then we'll still have all of the Patreon exclusive events. Okay, so that's kind of just a little insight into what is happening and what's going on. So speaking of So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese, it is coming on tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. That is the podcast with myself and my cousin Kalanda. We are 2 real life cousins. And if you are asking, do we put syrup on our grilled cheese? Yes, we do. And we also thought that that was normal because we thought that everybody did that. And then come to find out, it was actually just in my house, I think, that it happened. So anyway, we talk about all the things that we thought were normal, but they were actually the family recipe of dysfunction. And we have those conversations, and we also expand that to talk about the things that are happening in the world right now that is also absolutely dysfunctional and wild and crazy right now. So it's always a good time over there. We always laugh about something. It's always some type of kikiing and things that is going on down there too. So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese. So please do come and hang out with us there tomorrow. From Auntie with Love has completed its very first season. Hold on. Do I have some wait, see, this is why I'll be needing a producer. Hold on. Here we go. Yes. From Auntie with Love completed its very first season. This is a podcast with 4 aunties from different phases of life, from elder millennial to elder Gen Z, where we talk about things that often are not talked about and should be talked about. So we all embody a different type of there. So I had to give you a moment to check out. This was episode 7 where we had a game night. This was our last episode, and then we just released the best of episode last week. But this is kind of how we be over there down to the aunties. Okay, so let me let you check it out.
We just doing a good old sleepover, bonding, trust, friendship. Okay.
I had no idea that friendship was a platform. I thought it was a state of love, bonding, trust, real friendship.
All right, so Sierra, this first question is on you. All right,
All
let's cut the cameras. If I was dating myself, I'd be most annoyed with.
Oh,
If I was dating myself, I'd be most annoyed with. I'm gonna be honest. I can be a little bit. I don't know. I feel like there's a couple of things. That's why I'm trying to narrow it down. Just being honest.
Just give me one. Just give me one.
Just one. So it's like I can be a nitpicker, kind of like if I feel something, I'm gonna make it known. I'm not gonna let it go. I like, God, I hurt, and it's something I didn't like about my mother. It's like, so I would be annoyed with that, and I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Okay.
What does that look like? Working on it. What is that?
Because we always say we working on it. Ooh, come on.
Okay.
But I wasn't gonna say that part.
yeah, actionable steps and stuff. God
Okay.
dang, girl.
What is your next
really,
step?
Well, because no, for real, because I think a lot of us can relate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we're vocal people. Clearly, we're on the podcast. We like to say something. So
So that is from Auntie with Love, and we just completed our first season. So we are also going to run a marathon for From Auntie with Love during the month of July. So you'll be able to catch up on all of those episodes. We're also looking forward to season 2 and what that's going to look like, and whether all the aunties will be returning. Will we have new aunties? Will we have guest aunties? We don't know. But what we do know is there's enough aunties out there to have all the conversations that need to be had. I wanted to highlight this comment. This is a win right here. This comment says, OMFG, where have you been all my life? Here I go. I don't know why I still say that. Mystical is such a horrible person. And he is just like, anyway, here I am. We'll say that. I'm from New Orleans. That's why I be saying, here I go. But F him. Okay. Sorry. I ran. Yo, this is the stuff that I've been working on. These are the projects that we've been working on. This is just a piece of it. This is just what we have at this point right now, to kind of get the ball rolling. There's so much more that we are working on. But yeah, we be having a good old black ass time, minding our black ass business. You understand? That's all we ever be trying to do. That's all we ever be trying to do. Okay, ever. We just be trying to mind our black ass business. Okay. So yeah. So anyway, that is from Auntie with Love. So I also wanted to share that there are some Patreon exclusive events that hold on, y'all. We have an announcement from TD Toasty in the chat. So the community down there to so you don't put syrup on your grilled cheese, they're called the Toasties. Okay, and everybody has their own like emojis and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm seeing here in the comments, you got a new Toasty. We got a new Toasty entering the real zone. I can't wait. This is such a good time. The community is expanding right in front of our faces, y'all. This is how it happens. This is the bestest ever. Yes, come on over and hang out with us. Okay, it's a good time. So one of the aunties that you saw there on From Auntie with Love is Shekinah. Shekinah has the Let's Talk Sis universe. And over in the Let's Talk Sis universe, Shekinah, I was about to say throws. She creates experiences, if you will, for Black women. And these experiences are free if you are a part of the archive, which is the Patreon over here, or if you are a part of the LTS Sisterhood. And so Shekinah has Girls Night In events. We started in April. We had a Color and Kiki event. Then we had a game night event. We also had makeup and 90s music trivia. So Shekinah hosts these events over in her space. And so that's always a really good time. Then you also saw Vanessa, who was on, and Vanessa is the well educator. And Vanessa and I host healing circles. And in the healing circles, this is a space for Black women to reconnect to their bodies and reconnect back to their breath. We already had our June event. It takes place the second Saturday of each month. And in June, we were talking and feeling through intuition and connecting to what rest feels like and what freedom feels like in our bodies. So every month there's a theme and there's a yoga flow and there is some form of conversation or journaling or something to help us to go deeper. So I'm saying all that to say the universes and multiverses are turning the lights on. Things are happening. Okay. And so I'm really looking forward to, again, while I will not be on in July live here, there are so many other spaces that you can go to and catch up and understand the other people that are here in the universes. I also want to give a shout out to Lumbradita, who just started her podcast called Lumbradita Talks. And I'm going to put it as a featured channel here on Minding My Black Ass Business. So if you go to the homepage and you look at these are all the people that are in the universe, and you can go down all the rabbit holes and see all the things. Okay, all right, okay. So I do want to uplift that I will continue to have Just Ask Kim throughout the month of July. And so Just Ask Kim is the time with myself and the Inner Circle, which is my collection within the archive, where this is our space to catch up. So I do have to give y'all the rest of the tea about LBOT. I need to tell you the different updates that have been happening with the different meetings that I told y'all that have been going on. So it's a lot of updates that I got to give y'all. So Just Ask Kim is my space as the founder at Minding My Black Ass Business to keep everybody updated on what's happening in the broader scheme of things and what we're doing. We also need to talk about what we're doing in July, because I want to, we need to work on the spades classes. Okay. And then we also need to work on the vibe. The vibe is the music area. So if you are in the archive and you care about music, I need you to go to the post where I was asking about the vibe and let me know if you want to be a part of the conversations to plan it, or if you want to be a participant and like have your voice heard and what that needs to look like. Okay. So that's the kind of stuff that we'll be working on in Just Ask Kim on Wednesdays. So those spaces will continue to happen. All right. Okay. Hey, Lumbradita is here. Let me y'all click on her profile so that y'all can go over and subscribe to Lala's page and check out Lumbradita Talks, because she's just popped on the scene. I think it's 2 episodes out now, and I feel like there are 2 also like updates maybe that are out. So yeah, people are turning the lights on, is what I want you to know. The people are turning the lights on, and I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it. All right. So I'm gonna pause there on the things that are happening so we can get into the things that we want to talk about today. Okay. Now, last week we talked about my dad. It was my dad's birthday, and I showed you all my dad. So let me pull the pictures back up. Here we go. All right. So this is my dad. And so last week we talked about my dad, and we had kind of like an early Father's Day situational of celebrating my dad and the man that he has been in my life. And for those who missed that quick recap, my dad is my stepdad and my younger brother's father, but he's my dad. So today I want to talk about my father, my biological father, um, who I do not have a lot of pictures of. I actually only have one picture of my biological father. So this is me when I was about 7. My biological father is up in the right-hand corner, and then that's my dad in the bottom right-hand corner. And so I want to talk about my father today. And then I also want to talk about the deeper things that I was thinking about in regards to Juneteenth and this concept of freedom and like understanding where we came from. Right now, I also want to pause here and give trigger warnings in saying my relationship with my dad and my father and my mother, all of that is very complicated. And so there may be mentions of abuse, and there's also may possibly be mentions of self-harm and things of that nature. So I do want to share that. Also, I might cry because I be crying. Okay. And so if I cry, I just invite you to share some sunflowers in the chat. If you're here with me watching, or if you're watching this in the replay, to stop and pause and send some sunflowers in my direction. That absolutely feels like you are like sending joy towards me. But yeah, I'm gonna let myself cry if I start crying. I might not cry. I don't know, but I'm just letting you know. Okay. All right. So here we go. So I never met my biological father. He died before I was born. And so as a little girl, I remember, so I think I told y'all this last week. We really didn't have like men around in our family. I never had grandfathers. And well, I do that every time. So I didn't have a grandfather on my mother's side. On my father's side, there was his father. I think it was his father. I'm not sure. There was a husband, a grandfather figure who was there, but I think I maybe met him, I don't know, once or twice. Like I didn't know him. And so there weren't like grandfathers. So the concept of a grandfather I do not have. There were also not really dads around. Like my cousin didn't have a dad. My mom didn't have a dad. My dad didn't have a good relationship with his dad. Kalanda didn't have a dad. Casey had a dad, but he wasn't really around. Like men just weren't really around. And then my uncles, I have three uncles. Two of them went off to Desert Storm, and so they were gone. And then my other one uncle, he was around. Um, though I don't have a relationship with any of them now. And so I said all that to say this concept of like having a dad or having a father was always something that was very like fanciful for me because I didn't really have one. So the way that I understood dads and fathers was through TV and what I saw on TV. And then if my friends, some of my friends, especially once I got to middle school, let me see. No, Kenyatta had a dad. Katie had a dad. They had dads, but I really didn't get to peep what it was like to have a dad, if you will. Like I didn't get to see their father-daughter relationships. I just knew they had a dad. And also I I before so my dad came into my life when I was 5. And so there was a dad there, even though we didn't have a relationship. You got to go back and catch the last episode to understand why that is. Also, I need to re-release the blog post on Substack. Let me say that out loud so I could do that. Because I wrote a blog post about all of this because it's a lot. So anyway, so this concept of having a dad was something, or having a father was something that was like kind of just fanciful for me. And I used to watch a lot of TV. My mother worked at the cable station. So we had always had free cable. And so I watched a lot of Disney and a lot of Nickelodeon and Nick at Night and like all this. So I'm seeing fathers, but not really having this experience. Also, grew up in a very abusive home. My mother was very abusive physically and emotionally and mentally and all, just it was a lot. And so I would often pray to my dad, my father, knowing that he was gone, and clearly he had to be in heaven, because if he had me, this sweet baby princess angel, then he clearly was a good man. So I would pray to my father when I was younger, and my prayer was, it wasn't, I don't even know that it was a prayer, it was often like, why did you leave me here with this lady? Like, why did you do this? Like, things had to be, well, this the other thing. So let me go back to this. So, oh my God, this is so much. So when I was younger, my understanding of what happened to my father is that my father got pneumonia and he got sick and died. And that was the extent. I knew his first and last name, and that he got sick from pneumonia and he died, and that he was happy to have a little princess. That's it. At some point, we were in the new house, so I had to be 8, 9, something like that. And let me help you understand Kimberland as a child. First of all, I've always been neurodivergent, always. Now that I look back, I'm like, I was always doing a lot. I'm the type of kid, I'm rearranging the room, I'm organized and shit. Like I had a lot of books. And so I'm always into something, right? I'm in the file cabinet putting stuff in alphabetical order. I'm always doing something. And so one of the days I'm doing something, I'm either in my closet or the top of my mother's closet, and I find a picture. And it's a picture of my father, this picture that I showed y'all. And the baby in the picture is not me. There was a baby in the picture, but the baby wasn't me. But this picture, so I'm like, who is this picture? And it's like, this is your father. And I'm like, oh, okay. So now I have a face to put with this idea of this first and last name, this man who got sick and died, and then that he was happy to have this baby girl. And so that was probably, there were times along the way that I would ask my mother questions about my father, who he was, anything about him. And every time I would ask, she would give a Oscar winning dramatic performance. I'm talking and so I don't really know what to do with that because like I don't understand. Like, and I get it's sad. He's gone, you know, but also I'm trying to understand who he is. And so that was kind of my life. I will give a caveat here to say, in my earlier years, probably this had to be somewhere around, I don't know if my brother was yet born. So my brother was born when I was 7.5 to 8. A lot changed at that time. And so that's like a real marker for me. But at some point around, I was young though. I had to be like between 5, 7. I couldn't have been no older than 7 or 8. For a summer, I had gone to my father's mother's, my grandmother, my paternal grandmother. I had gone to her house for the summer. And now, mind you, I just told you, like, my family, we didn't really have men around on my mother's side of the family. I spent most of the time with my mother's side of the family. I have cousins, lots of cousins on my mother's side of the family. And so on my father's side of the family, I don't know these people, right? And when my paternal grandmother would call, like to talk to me and stuff, my mother would always be like, tell her I'm not here. I don't want to talk to her. Like it was always, I don't want to talk to her, tell her I'm not here, like all of that. And so I also picked that up because it's like, oh, we don't talk to her. Right? I'm a child. I don't understand. This is my only connection to who my biological father is and how important that's going to be in my life. So I'm just kind of like mirroring what my mother is doing. And so there were times where my grandmother would call, and I don't remember what we talked about or anything. And then there's this one summer where my mother took me over there for the summer. And I don't remember a lot about that summer, except that, and I don't remember how long I was there. I do remember there was another little girl that was living in the apartment complex that I would play with. And then she was visiting her grandmother, and then she left, and then it was just me. And so now I'm sitting in the house with this grandmother that I don't really know. My grandmother was, I remember her drinking. I feel like she also maybe smoked as well. My maternal grandmother smoked too. But like I'm a kid. Like it wasn't the kind of experience where it's like, grandma, let's do this and that. It wasn't that. It was very much like, I don't know why I'm even here. And so I remember at one point I was ready the Miss America pageant was on. Also, by the way, I used to think I was going to be Miss America. And so I would practice and what my speeches were going to be and stuff. But anyway, the Miss America pageant was on, and I remember calling my mother and being like, can you please come and get me? Like, I don't know these people, and you just left me over here with these people. Like, can you please come and get me? And so she did. And I remember I have an aunt on my father's side of the family that people would always say that I looked like. And every so often we would be out in the city and we would run into her, and they would always be like, because she had a lot of hair, so they're like, that's where Kim get all that hair from, because it's her father's side of the family, like all of this, right? So anyway, I had an aunt, and then I remember there were a couple uncles, kind of, but that's kind of all I remember. All right, so that's my life of understanding who my father is, like growing up. So fast forward to 2005. I had alluded to this last week that I was like, this situation happened in 2005, and it was a lot before Hurricane Katrina. So fast forward to 2005, Essence Festival. I'm coming home for Essence and to have a reunion with my line sisters. And it's 2005, so I'm 24. My brother is 17, 16, maybe 16, about to be 17, possibly. Um, and he keeps calling me. And I'm down there to the Essence Festival trying to go see John Legend and Alicia Keys and all this. And he keeps calling me, and he's like, Kim, they trip. No, first he called and he was like, can I come hang out with you down at the hotel? No, I'm with 10 grown women. Like, no, you're not. What is happening? So he's like, man, they tripping, man. Like, can I just come down there with you? So they tripping is code for our parents are fighting, my mom and my dad. And so he's like, they tripping. And I'm like, no. So I go to the concert, and what I said to him, I was like, look, just do whatever they, and they being my mother, whatever she's telling you to do, just do. I'm gonna be home on Sunday. Okay, just do what she's asking you to do. Please, I'll be home on Sunday. Now, before this, a couple days before this, I had talked to my cousin, Kalanda, and Kalanda was like, what your mama told you about your father? And like, y'all ever talked about that? And I was like, girl, I don't know. She said he got sick and died from pneumonia. I don't know. I don't really know much. And so she was like, um so I was out somewhere and I had ran into somebody that knew the family during that time. And the family was like, or this person was like, how are certain people in the family? So he was like, how's your aunt doing? Now, mind you, my grandma has 3 girls and 3 boys, right? So it's 2 aunts. So how's your aunt doing? Which one? The one with the little girl. Well, they all have girls. So Kalanda's like, which one? So he said, the one with the baby girl, trigger warning here. The one with the baby girl where the daddy had killed himself. And then he said my mother's name. And so then Kalanda was like, she's fine. Yeah, she's good. So then she calls me and tells me what happened. And so I said, huh, first time I've ever gotten this information. I'm 24. So I already had this in the back of my mind about this is a conversation that I need to have once I get to the house, right? So my brother is calling me, right? I'm over here being grown, doing grown people things. And I'm like, look, I'm a be there on Sunday. It's a lot that need to get talked about, but I just need you to lay low and I'll be there on Sunday. So I go to the concert again, John Legend, Alicia Keys. I get a phone call from my brother's grandmother. So my brother's grandmother is my dad's mom. And so she calls and she was like, you need to get to the house. Your parents just got arrested. So I'm like, what? So she's like, you need to get to the house. Your parents just got arrested. We're trying to go see about your dad. You need to come here and be with your brother. And your people went to go see about your mama. I'm at Essence, y'all. So I have to turn to all my line sisters and I'm like, I gotta go because my family is dysfunctional and I gotta go see what the fuck is going on. So I leave there, and I pull up to the house, and I have a neighbor that was across the street. Y'all may have heard me talk about him before because he's the one who got me to start getting all A's in history because he paid me $100 for every A that I got. So he's across the street and he sees me pull up. I don't know how I'm pulling up. I don't know. I might have I don't know. Cause this I'm what is happening? And so he comes out, he was like, Kim, we finna go get your dad. You know, we gonna make sure he all right. I just want you to breathe. And I ain't trying to hear none of this shit. You understand me? I ain't trying to hear none of this. Because to add insult to injury, y'all got my brother calling me because y'all can't keep your shit together. I already got to talk to you about what apparently is happening with my father. Then you got the nerve to go to jail, girl. What is this? So, I get in the house. My brother's grandmother is there. She gives me her account of what happened. Long story short, my mother likes to provoke people. It's something she does for fun. So she'll get in your face. She'll put her finger in your face. She'll spit in your face as she's talking. She like to push you up and make you feel like you can't escape. Like she's was at this time. I don't know who she is today because I don't have a relationship with her. But at this time, she was very, very, very aggressive. And so she was picking a fight with my dad. I told y'all last week, I've never even really heard my dad screaming. It definitely wasn't at me. Like he is a very calm person. He's big, like I'll leave before we do all that type of energy, but he also like very much staying firm on what you is and ain't finna do. So okay, that's what you're doing, bet. Let me go ahead on and leave. So he was trying to leave. My mom was trying to stop him from leaving. And so she was standing in the doorway. So he was like, get out the way. She falls out and then tells my brother to call the police. So then my brother is like, I'm not doing that because I see what's happening. Like, I'm not doing that. So then she calls the police, tells the police he's beating her and all this. The police wind up coming. They wind up going to jail. Oh, let me just not fast forward through this part. My dad is sitting outside. They tell him he's going to need to put some shoes on and some pants. It's cold down at the precinct. Also, he had a ticket or something that hadn't been paid, so he needed to go down there anyway. So they asked my mama, can he go back in the house and get his things so that he could be all right? I need you to sign this paper saying that he gonna get that. My mama said, I ain't signing shit. And she slapped the police officer hand. So then they put her ass in the back of the police car too. So now they both at jail. So then I show up. So I'm just sitting there like, so while I'm talking to my brother and my brother's grandmother trying to understand what happens, my family, my mother's side of the family, walks into the way our house was set up. Is like the kitchen is on this side, but there's another door over here to the game room. So they went in through the game room door and I'm over here in the kitchen. So I come around into the game room and I said, hello. And they were all like, oh my God, Kim, oh my God, well, we're so happy to see you. All of this, how are you doing? And I was like, I'm here. And so in my family, once a child, always a child, always supposed to have respect, all this. Mind you, I'm 24. So, you know, I just got grown, if you will. Who the hell I think I'm talking to type shit. So they were like, the hell going on with you? And I've always been a mannerable child, right? I've always just been like, you know what? No problem. Wait till I get the hell up from out of here. So my grandmother was there. One of my aunts was there. One of my uncles was there. One of my cousins was there. And my mother. And so they having this full family reunion. I'm not participating. They tell me I need to sit down and I need to talk about what's going on. And I was like, y'all don't really want me to talk about what's going on. And they were like, no, you need to talk about what the hell is going on. And I was like, y'all really don't want me to do that. And they were like, but you do. And I said, okay, here it goes. And the first thing that I talked with them about was my father. And so I confronted my mother about what happened to my father. And she immediately put on an Oscar winning performance. So then I turned and looked at my family and I was like, y'all have allowed her to be this person her whole life. And she been over here abusing us and terrorizing us. And then when accountability shows up, she get to crying and doing all this. Like, y'all have allowed this. Long story short, she never, I don't even know that she even confirmed. I still don't really know what happened to my father. I wound up talking to, so let me close some time. So after this, I wound up divorcing my whole family. I didn't talk to my family, for anybody in my family, for a few years. This was July of 2005. Hurricane Katrina happened in August 2005. During that time, my mother really, really showed her ass, like really, really badly, even to the point I did try to extend compassion. And I told them, I was living in Tampa at the time. I told them that they could come and live with me while everything got figured out. But my mother was mad because I didn't call to talk to her, and I called to talk to my dad, and there was always some kind of jealousy situation there. So she wound up hanging up the phone. It was a lot. It was a whole lot. So I wound up not talking to them for a very long time. Then somewhere around 2009, I was in church, and church was like, you need to forgive, you need to forgive. And so I embraced this concept of forgiveness, and I allowed my mother back into my life in 2009. So during this time, I'm trying to see, is she changing, who she is as a person. Long story short, she did not. So then my parents wind up getting a divorce, and my dad and my mom. And so I went no contact with my mom in 2017. In 2015, before that happened, I had gone home because I used to go home for the summer. So once the house was rebuilt, again, I'm from New Orleans. So once the house was rebuilt, I would go home every summer. I also had my dogs. I would take Jack with me, and every summer I would be home for like a month and a half, something like that, because I was a teacher. And so we were working on this relationship, all this, whatever. So one of those times I'm driving home back to Florida, back to Tampa, and I get a Facebook Messenger message from someone with the same last name as my dad, as my father, that says, I've been looking for you. And so I'm driving down I-75. I open up this message, and turns out it's one of my uncles. And so he's like, I've been looking for you for years. I have no idea like where you've been. I wound up seeing you through mutual friends or Facebook suggestions or something. And it was interesting. I talked to him. I also have, I think I had mentioned, I remembered having two uncles. I have two uncles. I haven't talked to the other uncle. But this uncle, I tried to like get information from him. So I was like, what happened? And he was in the military, in the Navy. And so he was like, I don't know. He said, one week your father called, and he said, I am getting married and I'm having a baby girl and I'm really excited. And then the next phone call I got is that he was gone and that he had taken his life. And so I don't really know what happened. And I don't know if that is true. The only people that were there were my father and my mother. And anytime you ask her anything, she gives an Oscar winning performance. And so you can't get any answers about what happened. My dad told me there was a newspaper article that was written at some point. I never saw it. He also told me it was in the house. I never saw it ever. And he was like, and this is information that we found out. So in this 2005 situation, that's where I started building a relationship with my dad, because I was able, what happened is they were in counseling, and the counselor asked to talk to me. And I went to talk to the counselor, and I told her about what our life was like. And it filled in a lot of the gaps that my mother had been lying about in counseling. And so the counselor, based on what I had said and based on what my dad had said, I found out later, had arranged for my brother to be taken from the house because it was a lot that was going on. That did not happen, but my mama ain't like that. She ain't like that. So that was a lot. But anyway, it put me in position to be able to start to understand some of the things that were happening behind the scenes with why I did not have a relationship with my dad. Again, you got to go back to last week's episode to get all of that. But yeah, apparently there were articles and things that were there about my father, and I never saw them. And so to this day, the information that I have gathered about my father is his first and last name, the day that he was born. He was actually born on August 29th, which is the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, ironically. Um, I don't know where he's buried. I don't know much else about him. And so when I've asked my uncle, I also connected to a cousin that's on my father's side, but she was also young. So she didn't like this, the kind of answers they give me. When I asked my uncle about my grandmother on my father's side, I said, can you tell me about my grandmother? Like, I would like to know who she was as a person. First and last name. These are her parents' names. This is where she was from. She used to talk a lot of shit and cuss a lot. Thanks. Appreciate it. So that is on my father's side of things. And so in this stage of life, I have had to accept that there are some answers that I may never receive. And I have been working on building a relationship with my father posthumously. And so one of the things and traditions that brought me back to that is Dia de los Muertos. I am almost obsessed with Dia de los Muertos and the idea of ofrendas. So if you have ever seen the movie Coco, first of all, don't go in there blind. It's going to tear you down. I need you to know that first and foremost, period and point blank, is going to tear you down. Okay. Um, but the whole idea about Coco and ofrendas and Dia de los Muertos is that we have the ability to keep people's memories alive. And as long as somebody is talking about them, their memory stays alive. And unfortunately, my father's memory has somewhat been erased, and I only have like these little pieces that I can hold on to, to understand who he is. Um, but I feel like that's my responsibility. I know that he would be so proud of who I am. Um, and I know that my dad tells me that all the time too. He's like, your father would be so, so, so proud of you. But it's so strange, like to not have that understanding or to look at pictures and be looking for yourself in a picture. It's so strange. And but it is on both sides of my family, because even on my mother's side of the family, the work that I've done to understand who we are and where we've come from, and being able to trace our roots back to our indigenous roots is something that's huge, because my family does not talk about things. Like they don't share. So things are just getting lost in everything. And so I saw a comment here. Rolando said that my ofrenda is on point. My ofrenda has been expanding because I'm like, why aren't we talking about our people? So my ofrenda started with my dog Jack and my father when I was living in Mexico City. And that has expanded to my grandmother on my mother's side, my grandmother on my father's side, and my great grandmother on my mother's side, and my great grandfather on my mother's side, who again I don't know much about, but it's really made me want to be that much more intentional about understanding who these people were and the blood that is running through me. Um, and the legacy like that lives through me and what they wanted, who they wanted to be and why they did what they did or whatever. I don't know. It's very interesting. It's really interesting to figure all of this out when people are not here to help you figure it out. And so what I wound up having to do in the absence of so many answers is I wound up having to kind of like skip around and just piece these things together. And so in 2020, just before COVID, I did an African ancestry test. And mind you, this African ancestry test is only for my maternal line, but it traces our people back to Cameroon, to the Tikar, the Hausa, and the Fulani tribes. And so I, what does that mean? And like looking for some type of understanding in that has been important to me. And I know that I'm not the only person like who is looking for the remnants and pieces of themselves. I've had a few friends over time who have been adopted, who also have kind of talked to the idea of just not knowing, who you are. Um, it's a lot. It's a lot. This comment says, I've been on a similar journey. I feel you. Putting ancestral pieces together is a task. It's a lot. And I will pause here and say, if there's anybody from my family that is watching this, I need to get in touch with Trudy, please, because she's done a lot of this work and I've been trying to get in touch with her. So if somebody can help me with that, that would be helpful. Please and thank you. Because there are so many unanswered things. So African ancestry, for men, it will trace your paternal line, and then you would have to get a female cousin to do the maternal line. But it was really cool. Like you get a certificate and everything, and they, it's a big deal. But I was happy I did that. And I did that for the entire, maternal side of my family, because we are losing pieces of our ancestry and pieces of ourselves every single day. And our mission, I believe it is to carry those stories forward, right? When we forget the things that have happened and who people were, we also leave the lessons that they learned, right? And so I've talked about this before, like, I am so public and transparent about my life because I want people to be able to see themselves and know that they're not alone. And then also to feel comfortable naming the mistakes that they've made and the lessons that they've learned, because I don't believe in making the same mistakes over and over again. I'm the type of person, I can learn from somebody else's mistakes. I can see, okay, that didn't work out well. Okay, great. I don't have to do that again. And I often talk about this concept of making new mistakes, right? Like the generations that are coming behind us, they should be making new mistakes so that they can tell the people that are coming behind them. So now we have this collective understanding of how things have evolved and how we can show up for ourselves more quickly, right? So as a 45-year-old woman, there's stuff that I'm just learning at 45 that when I'm able to impart that type of knowledge to my 24-year-old intern, this stuff you don't even have to do, baby girl. You ain't even got to wonder how this gonna turn out. I could tell you now. Like right now, we're all of us that are in our 40s are going through perimenopause and figuring out what the fuck this means and what is happening with our armpits and chin hairs and like all this dumb shit. But it's like we're finding out for the first time because our moms and our aunties didn't talk about this stuff, right? So it really is up to us to keep the information flowing, pass down the messages, pass it back to other people so that they are able to understand what's going on. And we haven't really been doing a good job with that. We haven't really been doing a good job with that. And so for me, it is supremely important because this generation that's coming up, these 20 something year olds and the ones that are in school right now, they the ones that's about to be on the front lines of everything that's happening. They're the ones that are getting mobilized and deciding how they are going to respond to the active attacks and oppression and all of that. I'm about to read these comments in a second. Y'all gonna see why I laughed. Um, but the young people are on the front lines, and we really, really need to equip them with understanding what we have done so that they can take that information and then filter that through what the world looks like today. Because we also have outdated information. And I also need us to understand that we are not on, I'm talking to us 40 somethings and ups, we are not on the cutting edge of what the hell is going on. And we need to know that. And so it's important for us to have the 20 somethings around and have active communication with them so that they could keep us on the cutting edge of what the hell is happening. The technological advances that are going on right now are happening by leaps and bounds very quickly. And so we have to be intentional about reaching back and especially when they are reaching forward, because there are young people right now who are very much like, hey, auntie, can I ask you about this? And what does this and what is your opinion on that? Like they are actively seeking out mentors and seeking out guidance. And so that is what the hell we here for. Aunts and unks, that's what we here for, is to give them that guidance so that they are able to help guide all of us through this shit. Okay? So, the more transparent that we are and the more open that we are about the lives that we've lived, the better chance that we have of all getting ourselves to a position where we're able to be safe outside of the systems and the fuck shit, if you will. Let me see what y'all talking about over here in these comments. Let's see. So we got some additional tracing of the lines. Tracing the paternal line ends up in Europe 90% of the time, something like that. And will probably for most of us. I definitely on my maternal side, they told us that my great great grandmother was indigenous and our great great grandfather was white. We don't know what kind of white, but back to Europe. I'm sitting here plucking chin hairs now. Let me tell you something. I had a full on crash out the other day. Mini crash out, more so like the fuck. I guess that considers a crash out because first of all, I live by myself, right? This is back to Elba being in town. But this happened before I knew that he was in town. But I live by myself and I was saying to myself, I really want to go to the park on Juneteenth. And so I said, let me actually look in the mirror and see what the hell is going on. What is happening? Now, mind you, I had laser hair removal in my 20s. Okay. One thing about me, hair is going to grow. That's y'all saw when I cut Raina. And y'all see what Raina is doing right now. Raina said, cut who? Girl, we grow around here, right? So hair is going to grow. Got the laser hair removal. That don't mean shit. Perimenopause. Bitch, we back. So I really was like, I see why older women at some point just be like, y'all just gonna have to get these shares. At some point, you just be like, and now I have a beard. Because the fuck? Like, this is dumb. This is really, 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 really dumb. It's really dumb. And I don't like it at all. I'm sick of it. It's like a good pair of tweezers becomes the next best thing to life, because at any point in time I gotta sit here and be, and now they got the nerve to be gray. Now you got the nerve to be gray. Sick of this shit. Sick of this shit. So let me get back on track. This comment said, that's why community is important. So the young can get wisdom from life experience and the older can stay in the know and learn advances lost on us. Exactly. This is why I created the archive. Because when I think about the concept of freedom, right? So Juneteenth was yesterday and was minding our black ass business. As I think about the concept of freedom, for me, it feels like community and insulation from the fuckery. I don't think I shared this with y'all here, but we were talking about it. I think we were talking about that in Just Ask Kim. I had ran across, there are a couple YouTube channels that I really like to learn from. One is Crash Course. If you ever wanted to know a crash, something about something, go down there to that Crash Course, baby, and they're going to get you straight. They got a crash course about everything. So that's where I had done a crash course in regards to indigenous peoples and the actual history with the United States. And what that looked like and sounded like in some of the myths. So I did that crash course. But then the other day, PBS, I think it was called PBS Origins, there was a series that popped up and it was something like things that they didn't teach you or something like that. And they were talking about the Maroons. And the Maroons were a group of people who lived in the swamps. This was an area that was kind of like around Virginia. And so they lived in the swamps, and there were different types of maroons. So there were internal maroons, fringe maroons, and canal maroons. And the internal maroons were the ones, so the white people knew that the maroons were there, but they could not do anything about it because the maroons were living through the swamps. So there was like a swamp with snakes and all kinds of things. But on the other side of that swamp was these free communities of maroons who were also in community with indigenous peoples. And so when I think about that concept, because mind you, everybody can't leave, right? Everybody is not able to get out of the US. And also, I do believe that window is closing for that to be able to happen. But we are going to have to figure out, for those of us who are still in the US, we're going to have to figure out what it looks like to insulate ourselves from the fuck shit. And create places where we can have safety and freedom. And so this idea of this swamp and having to traverse through this swamp, that is a layer, that was the layer of protection that they had, that they were able to be unbothered and mind their black ass business, you know? And so I'm often thinking about what that looks like to create that type of community. The swamp in this situation is very much metaphorical and can mean a whole lot of things. But one of the things that it often means in this universe is that you have to do the work to make a decision that you're going to unplug from the system. And that means that you have to do the internal work to really understand who you are and how your spirit is guiding you and what your purpose is in life. That's the swamp of the things, because in that time people are going to fall off, people going to talk about you, people going to be looking at you sideways, people are not going to understand, you're going to have to end relationships with some, it's going to be very, very lonely at times. But on the other side of that, when you get to a space where you have safe community and people who are actively showing up, people who are actively exchanging information, people who are actively checking on you, people who are actively creating space for you to exist, people who, when you show up, they say, "Oh my God, girl, I've been waiting on you. I've been waiting for you to get here." When we're able to create those spaces, we get to experience a level of freedom that is insulated from the fuckery and the foolishness that's going on in the US and honestly, globally. Honestly, globally. And so that's what, bringing it full circle back to Elbot, that is what made me so excited about being able to spend time with Elbot, because this is what we talked about and we didn't know what it looked like. I think at the time we were thinking very much like a physical place, and I do believe that there are physical places that are all around, where people are going to be able to find safety, but it's more so finding the understanding of how you're supposed to connect into the greater vision so that you're able to open the portal to find the people who need to connect to you. It is, y'all saw it happen here. It is more frequent and more frequent that people show up here and they be like, "Where the hell you been? Where you been? I've been looking for you." And I have been waiting for you. I have been creating with you in mind and thinking about how I can create space to amplify others, how I can create space for all of us to feel connected, how I can create space for us to have the conversations we need to have, to learn the things we need to learn, to keep the vibes that we need to have, to make sure that we know how to do things like cook, we know how to garden, we know how to do the things that are going to help us to remain connected to our humanity and connected to our spirits. I've been waiting on y'all. I've been waiting on y'all, and I'm so glad that you are here. So let me see. We got some more comments here. The evolutionary curve of technology is wild. I was watching a thing this morning about all these data centers that have been popping up, and they were talking about the incessant hum that is coming from generators and things. And it immediately pissed me off because my alma mater, Fisk University in HBCU, has signed a $1 billion deal to have a data center on campus in Nashville, Tennessee. And I just, it's a lot that's going on and we really need to tap in. I'm not going to go on that rant right now, but just know that I feel some type of way. Okay. My great grandmother is some type of Indian, so I can only imagine what her parents were. Thus far, no one has spoken of her parents. Yeah. She said, "Don't go down the road because them gray hairs don't pluck out as easily as the black ones. They be like, I'm here to stay." That be the craziest part. And I don't always catch it on the lights because they're gray. I really legit want to have like a whole like perimenopause crash out situation because this is dumb. This is so dumb. The Maroons are a perfect example of I'm over here living my life, minding my black ass business. Why are you trying to fuck with me? Leave me alone and go about your business. The perfect example. Like the literal example. When I tell y'all the reason I started minding my black ass business is because I was living in Pennsylvania and I was working on behalf of the Department of Education. I'm trying to make a difference for these children. I'm realizing that they don't want to do that, have never wanted to do that. So everything that we just sat in this meeting to do, y'all are actively undoing behind the scenes. And I was like, they harassing me because I'm like, "Hey, this is not okay." And like y'all cannot keep doing this. And at some point, I just was standing in the middle of the floor and I said, "I just want to mind my black ass business." And something dropped in my spirit and said, "You should put that shit on a t-shirt." And then something else dropped in my spirit and said, "Bitch, that is a whole movement. Like, that is a whole brand. Like, that's all we be trying to do. That is literally all we be trying to do is mind our black ass business. That's it. That is literally it. But they don't want us to mind our black ass business because we are the magic. Like literally, we are the ones who have the knowledge. We are the ones that have the creativity. When talking about, I was watching something the other day and they were talking about the innovation and ingenuity of, you know, what we call nigger rigging, right? That is called engineering. That is engineering. Like knowing how to engineer something with the least amount of resources possible to solve a problem. That is engineering. That be us doing that. So they don't want us to mind our black ass business because that means they normal, regular, and I don't even want to say normal, they regular, degular, basic asses don't have our genius and ingenuity to be able to lean on. So they can't allow that to happen. Cause what you mean that you taking your genius and your not just the genius and the joy. I was watching something else the other day. What was I watching? It was It had to be some show. I'm watching so many shows right now. It's crazy. I was watching Shrinking, and then I was also watching Ted Lasso, and it might have been one other show. But I bring it up because they had said something like, I'm not gonna remember what exactly they said, but let me choose a colloquialism that might align. They said something to the effect of like, okay, clock it, white people. Or maybe they were Asian. I think that's what it was. It was an Asian. I think I was down a rabbit hole on some dancing video, and then like there were some Asian brothers, and they were dancing at each other's weddings, and then I feel like somebody did a speech, and somebody said something like "clock it." My point. I said to myself, one of the reasons why language and things has had to evolve so quickly is because they keep taking our shit. Like every time that we create something because it's cool and it's joy. But they will never be able to have joy like us. And you know what's so crazy about, I know I'm on like 5 different tangents right now, but go with me. What's so crazy about the idea of genetic trauma and intergenerational trauma is that white people don't realize the amount of intergenerational trauma that they carry for who the hell their ancestors were. Can you imagine what it's like to come from a bloodline of people who are not human, like who are barbaric and cannibalistic, and they want to call somebody else savages, but like bloodthirsty and like hateful and filled with this cancerous pull towards power, no matter even if it hurts yourself. Like, could you imagine what that feels like to carry that? And they have not reckoned with any of that. That's why they can't do things like go out in the sun. That's why they can't be in peace in nature. I was watching another video the other day. It might have been on TikTok or something, but they were talking about how at every, like, if you go into a park or a forest or something, there are trees on the outside that are the gatekeepers. And they're the ones who send messages to the other trees inside about what energy is coming into the space. And so the lady was saying, she was like, so if you ever walk into a space and like you wind up tripping over a tree root, like they're getting your attention. Like you're coming into sacred space. Y'all know that trees talk to each other, right? I've been reading this book, Emergent Strategy, and she talks about oak trees, and oak trees are very what I want to call it, they're an indigenous tree to the South. But the network, their roots, they connect under the ground, and they are basically holding hands and supporting each other under the ground. And that's how they are able to withstand hurricanes and like all of that. While you see just this tree on the surface, they connected to the tree across the street, down the way, under the ground. Like it's just to think about the ways that nature is showing up to protect from white folk. Somebody told me the other day they were like, they were talking about them being the white people trying to go to space and go to the moon. And I was like, and they had said something like they would get on to the spaceship. I said, let they ass get the hell up from out of here so the earth can breathe for a minute. Will y'all? Will y'all go to the moon, Mars, Venus, some the fuck where else? So that the earth can have a moment to like actually breathe and be all right for a minute. Will y'all jump in the spaceship and get the fuck up out of here? Could ya? Please? Huh. So okay, sorry. I'm just talking right now. They stay still in our lingo, period and point blank. Rolando said, they love to act like they hate us, but truly, what would they do without us? They live for us. Where would they get their inspiration from? Who would they have to obsess over? Exactly. Exactly. I couldn't imagine, like, you don't even have seasoning for your food. Like, they set out to travel the world to find seasoning. That's how bland they know that their life is. It's wild. They don't realize how much sick trauma, sick shit that they're carrying in their DNA. Yeah, it is correct. Mycelium networks. Come on. That's what they're called. Let me see. This one says, I think they do realize the sick ish. However, why would they acknowledge that when it's easier to act as though it isn't true or doesn't exist and rewrite the narrative? Some of them do. Some of them are very clear and very aware and are actively choosing to be participants in it. One of the activities that we do in IMLC, that's when I certify life coaches. And so when you're getting your intuitive melanated life coach certification, one of the things that we do is look at how you formed your racial identity development. And there's also a parallel outline of how white people form their racial identity development in the stages that they go through, and what happens when they are awakened to their whiteness and the impact of all that intergenerational trauma. That's why I be very clear about white people and people who happen to be white as well, because there are people who happen to be white who have done that work and are doing that work, that have faced their intergenerational trauma, that have faced who their ancestors have been, that have faced what the concept of whiteness actually means and what that means to be aligned with the concept of whiteness. There are people who happen to be white who are actively involved in that process. I can fuck with you. I can rock with you. You good. White people who either do not know that they are white and or actively choosing to be white and weaponize their whiteness, I don't have two words for you. You're dead to me. You don't even exist to me. I know that there are people like this in the world, but when I tell you, you do not exist to me, and I do not create space for any of those type of people, because they find themselves over here from time to time, right? Because when you go back in the archives, and the way that Minding My Black Ass Business started was as a revolution. I was on here snitching and showing receipts about what the hell is going on down there in education, and white folk was pissed. Try to get the page snatched and everything. But that is my job. I am a truth keeper and a truth teller. And so I'm going to say what happened, and I'm not finna shut up about it. So they find themselves over here from time to time. And also, I believe in the Block and Be Blessed ministry very much. So, to that point of having community, right, and having people who are willing to show up is also something that we've seen the folks who are in the SEAL squad with Amanda Seals, like the way that people are targeted for speaking the truth is wild. And so that also means that we have to stick together and make sure we have each other's backs and that we're amplifying the work that each other is doing, because this shit is wild. It is really, really something out here. And so I really want us to like reimagine what freedom looks like for us and reimagine what community looks like for us and how we can support each other in helping to protect each other and show up for each other, because we really have some dope ass ideas and like dope ass ways to be able to change the world. We just need to make sure that we know who's doing what. It's just like a big ass resource map, honestly, is what we need to create. So, if that sounds like something that's your vibe or whatever, you may want to lean in a little bit closer to the things, okay, and check out the things that we have going on behind the scenes, okay, down to the archive. All right. So, I want to give you an official invitation. You are able to join the archive for free if you want to just come and look around for a little while, and all the things. I do need you to know that the archive is under construction right now. This is the vibe, though, of the direction that we are going in. So every time I show this, I always am curious about what it makes people think about. But this is the vibe of the archive that we are going with. And this is a big multiverse of portals where people are creating universes and putting their creativities and their works out into the world for others to be able to participate in. So when you are in the archive, you get the opportunity to co-create. You get the opportunity to be in the room with these conversations, to have your own ideas be birthed. And the greatest part is that it's all yours. It still continues to be yours. I just sit in a position where I'm amplifying it and using my platform to be able to support yours. So whether you want to be a creator or whether you are looking to be a keeper of something in particular, or you just want to be in the room, child, come on down to the archive. Okay. It is $5 a month where you get access to everything that is in there. We are again under construction, so we're building out different spaces there. Over the summer, we're going to be working on the vibe, which is our music space. And as I mentioned before, we're also going to be working out building out the space classes, because I got to take the space classes over there to the SEAL Squad, right? We're doing the work. We're doing the work of the ancestors, y'all, and making sure people know how to play spades, because this is what I want y'all to know. Y'all don't be right when people don't know how to play spades. Y'all don't be treating them people right. And how they supposed to learn if ain't nobody gonna teach them? Huh? How they supposed to learn? And you just shutting them out and locking them away from cultural secrets. That's not right. Somebody got to teach it. Okay. And so I am volunteering as tribute, and anybody else who wants to show up to support that. I also had a couple people tell me that they may not be able to teach, but they would be willing to assess and make sure that people get their space certification, right? We gonna have a badge for people to be able to say, it's a whole situation that we building out, because we got to know how to do the things, is what I'm saying. We got to know how to do the things, okay? We can't just be shutting people out. All right. So we're going to be working on that, as well as the vibe. There are some conversations about music that I want to have. There's also some listening parties that I want to have. Some folks have entered who are music artists. And we want to be able to amplify their stuff and host listening parties and things of that nature. So again, if this is something that is vibing with you, make sure you come and hang out with us down to the archive. Okay. It's a good time. And when you get in there, make sure you say hey and make sure you connect with people. All right. Because it's people around here. Now, everybody might not be there at the same time. That's the other thing you got to know. This is an international operation. Folks is all over the world. They're all over the world. There are people in South Africa, in Kenya, in Mali, we have people in Australia. There's people in Southeast Asia. There are people in various spaces in the US. There are people here in Colombia. There are people in Mexico. Like, there are people that are all over. All right. So that also means that it's kind of like a pen palish type of situation sometimes, where people are not actively there, but you can always go back. All right. So I need y'all to venture on into the chats and all of the things that are going on in the archives so that you are able to connect to the people and get some collaborative spaces going. Everything does not have to depend on me, y'all. Okay. And I really, really, really need y'all to know that everything does not have to depend on me. I don't have to be the one at the center of anything at all. I want y'all to talk to each other. Okay. So please do that. All right. I was trying to pull up my final thought. I don't know where it went on my what you call them on my computer. So let me pull it up here on my phone so we could get on. Up from out of here, up from out of here. Okay, where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Thank y'all for hanging out with me live. If you have not already liked the video, please do that. If you have not subscribed to the page, make sure that you do that as well. Also, please share this with someone else that you think may benefit from all the things that we have going on over here. Okay, I didn't give y'all's soul work, so let me do that too. And let me see. What y'all talking about? Talking shit isn't an integral part of playing spades. Talking shit is an integral part of playing spades, but you got to be able to learn so that you can learn how to talk the shit. You know, you got to go to school first so that you get on in there. Yeah, it's not for somebody trying to learn. You're making me nervous. What is happening? Why y'all taking it so serious? That's literally why I retired from playing spades. Because at the end of the day, and I don't gamble, right? So at the end of the day, all we doing is playing for bragging rights. I need you to calm down. I need you to calm down because you're not even doing nothing. Like you're not winning nothing. But to say that you're the spades champion of the kitchen table, cut it out. Cut it out. It's too much. It's too much. Okay. All right. This is our soul work. I want y'all to think about somebody that is in your lineage, whether that be a parent or an ancestor or someone else. But I want y'all to think about somebody who's in your lineage that you don't really have like the full story to who they are, and then find a way to honor them. So whether that is lighting a candle or whether, let's say in your meditation time, that you call their spirit forward or you do like a guided breath work or something like that, but call their name, call their presence forward, because we want to make sure that our frienda is lit. We want to make sure that we have the people, their stories and their names and their legacies in the rooms with us when we are out here facing the world. We need the wisdom of everybody who has gone before us. We need to learn from the things of the past, as well as what is happening currently, as well as what's about to happen. We need this intergenerational crossover situational, if you will. Okay. And so I want you to figure out who that person is and call that person forward and take some time to honor them so that you are able to feel their spirit with you. Okay. And so in closing, I've honored two things here today. So Father's Day as well as Juneteenth. And I'm not the only person who sits in a situation where we may not know who our ancestors are and may not know where we've come from. But I do believe that it is possible for us to honor them just the same. Toni Morrison has a quote where she says, "My people's memory is longer than the road that stretches ahead." And so I think it's important for us to know we didn't like start at today. There are people that have gone ahead and people that have left breadcrumbs. In my case, I leave sunflowers. But there are people who were thinking with you in mind and saying they're going to come along one day and they want to know what this is. So let me make sure that I document this. And that may live in books, that may live in essays, that may live in videos, right? So I do think it is our job to get curious and to really look for and speak the names of the people that have carved out the paths for us to be able to be here today. That is a part of resistance, that is reclamation for us, that gives us the ability to be able to keep the things that are important to us. And at the end of the day, that is what is most important. All right. So again, happy Juneteenth to y'all. Happy Father's Day to the fathers and the fathers that have made an impact on the world and on your children, and to the uncles who stood in the gap where the fathers may have been present. Thank you to all of you. Your spirit is needed, your work is needed, your voice is needed. We do need you. And that means that in that, we really want you to figure out what it looks like to honor yourself as well, because we need y'all. Y'all have a role. And we need you to really walk in that boldly. Okay. So I am gonna be back next Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern. If you're in the archive, and we'll be back tomorrow for So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese. Don't forget, 12 p.m. Eastern. Kalanda and I will be here with the shenanigans and the foolishness. So be ready for that. And if you're in the archive, there's a lot I have to tell y'all about on Wednesday. So stay tuned to that. Please go out today and do some frolicking. Do something that brings your spirit joy. Do something that makes you laugh. Blow some bubbles or something. Oh, my bubble's over there. Do something that's going to make you feel connected and free and frolicky. All right. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to those of y'all in the chat. And I'll holla at you next week. Bye, y'all. Thank you for listening to The Frolicking Truth, where joy meets justice and our nervous systems get free. Please be sure to like, rate, and comment. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Minding My Black Ass Business, and follow me on all social platforms. Until next time.